Hey, welcome to Chromaphile, the show where we pull apart songs we love to see how they can heal us. I'm your host, Alaina Musich. We're going to kick off the podcast with the song that first gave me the idea to make the show. It's called See You by Dinosaur Jr. from their 2009 album, Farm. The idea came around as I was talking to other Dino listeners, and I realized that my listening was a little different from theirs, simply because I apply this band to my life very practically as music therapy. And I bet you they do too, but I've got a different vocabulary that I can use to describe it. As a lifelong musician and music teacher, I use the 12-note chromatic scale to apply music to countless styles and settings on a daily basis. And as a Certified Healing Touch Practitioner, I was trained to work on the 12-point human energy system, or biofield, to relieve pain and anxiety and create an overall sense of well-being for my clients. Chromaphile is the technique that I have gained with the combination and exercise of my two professions over the past decade. And that is just the ability of being able to sit down and tell you how music is affecting you energetically. See You is a great place to start with this approach because it's one of those songs for me that just stays on repeat. Whenever it comes on, I can't seem to turn it off. And we all have songs like that. They are precious to us because they give us something. And this show is just a little peek into what that something might be. This song also makes an appearance on my pain relief playlist, which is a tool I use to manage a chronic injury I have. It's a common technique in music therapy, and I'll be going over those kinds of things as we go along. I'll be playing the song on piano simply underneath a verbal analysis, which will allow you to see how all of the elements of the songwriting are scrubbing through your energetic system. You can use this audio in a couple different ways. The way in which I speak about the record and play the piano is a reflection of music healing, and I have conducted healing sessions in that manner while I play an instrument and speak about the energy and motion. You can choose to use this audio as a healing, or you can just listen to the information provided and apply it to the record with a new perspective. Both are great ways to enjoy the podcast. Dinosaur Jr. is a Massachusetts-based rock band originally formed in 1984 with the members Jay Mascis, Lou Barlow, and Murph. They're still together, touring and recording new music with their most recent album, Sweep It Into Space, set to release on April 23rd this month. They also just announced their 2021 tour dates, and I'll just say that after a year of a pandemic and no live music, this band is a priority to see live. Their complete discography is available anywhere you stream, so check them out if you're into that kind of thing. They're really awesome. Dino has been around for a long time, so a lot of people have had the opportunity to discover them during their formative years or a time of rapid brain development, which was the case for me. I think I found them my freshman or sophomore year of high school. And anything that you were listening to during that time, like middle school, high school, holds pain relief properties for you, just so you know. The genre in which they play, which is shoegaze, grunge, rock, is addictive if you are predisposed to enjoying rock music, which my childhood was full classic rock. So listening to Dino is physically satisfying for me. It feels like it gets to the center of my body. And if you enjoy loud rock music, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But what you may not have known is that that feeling is actually therapeutic, and you can make a whole playlist of that feeling and just turn it on when you need to feel better. So try it out sometime. I think that's good for introductions. So let's sit back, relax, and get into the song. Here are some healing aspects of the song that you can tune into if desired. See You is in the key of F major, belonging to the heart center. Physically, we can apply this song to our heart and respiratory health, as well as any of the tissues, glands, and bone structures that are related to that part of the body. The feeling of the key in the context of this song is comforting, and the dominant tone connects us to a sense of security, or the Divine Mother, Gaia. The chord pattern in the first section of this song descends from the resting feeling of the tonic to the dominant, which points home, and the subdominant, which points away from home. This gives a feeling of being reminded to rest when we want to run. It's an invitation to care for yourself before tending to the needs around you. The chords here in the key of F move from the heart down to the earth and then up above the head to the seat of the soul. If you feel a circular sensation coming from this music, it's not a coincidence because the energy moving through these sounds is creating a circular pattern physically on the body. Starting at the heart, pulling down into the earth, and then rolling back up on top of the head over and over again. When we pull energy down into the earth, it can be thought of like a shower drain or a clearing technique, where we take any stress or anxiety, fears from that heart center and we pull them down to release them into the earth. We know in energy practice and meditation that the earth takes any negative energies or blocked energies and transmutes them into positive, usable energy that gets filtered back into the world around us. After using this common technique to clear our heart, we return to the seat of our soul to feel a clear sense of ourselves, or our sense of purpose. Mascis repeats this progression for a good long while in the beginning of the record, as if repeating a clearing technique for us up and down the body. The melody played over this section emphasizes all of the information I just gave you about the chords. However, there's an added push into your crown, which encourages you past your limitations and into your divine self. This is so beautifully intuitive because we've just cleared the heart, connected to our physical being on the earth, sat in the true seat of our soul, and then we get an emphasis into our divine self. It sort of wraps everything up really nicely with this melody here. Within this melody, we also get an emphasis on the navel dantian, which in Chinese medicine is known as the elixir field. It's like the furnace of your body, and it's located on the pelvic floor. So, after clearing our heart and connecting with our physical selves and our divine selves, we are motivated. We are given our internal fire to do our best work. I'll try to stick to chromatics and music structure mainly in this show, but most music we listen to includes a singer, and singers present energy. There's no way around it. So it's worth mentioning the tone, timbre, and sometimes lyrics that are included in these songs. Mascis has a husky, mumbly twang that matches the comforting tone of the song. This aspect of the record is disarming, and it opens the listener into the full offering of the sound. Sometimes when a vocal is introduced to music, it can be very overpowering or ego-forward, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes we need a big ego boost if we're feeling a little beat up. However, Jay likes to take care of us in a different way with his vocal. He isn't trying to dominate or impress by overpowering the record with some amazing vocal technique. Instead, he meets the listener where we stand and offers a common ground to anyone that might want to sing along. This next section focuses from the earth to the soul, which can feel a little bit more serious because these 2 points are connected to past lives. One is under the feet and one is over the head, so it's almost like the string that suspends us here in this life. It's really the connection that we have to feel to know what our true purpose is in this life. The next section features a fluttering riff between the throat and the crown, which further emphasizes speaking from and owning our divine self. Almost too appropriately, this is a very short section before we go back into the clearing technique. Here's the next part. This is a descending riff that acts as a grounding after doing all that technical work in the beginning of the song, bringing us back into reality after all that spiritual connection. The riff emphasizes a walk down from the heart to the earth while touching on all the points we just worked on along the way to pull it all together. This is highly appropriate as we end this melody line on the subdominant tone of the F major scale, which, coincidentally, is the grounding point for the entire physical and etheric energy system. In plain listening, this is the funnest part of the song, which lends itself to grounding. Grounding is best achieved by dancing and laughing or physically enjoying ourselves. Beethoven used a similar effect to personify children running downstairs, and that's what this gives me. The last section of the song opens into the first and only minor chord of the song. This brings in tension we haven't yet experienced. This minor chord is the aforementioned Dantian, or physical life force energy. This roots into the earth and then jumps back home to the heart, connecting the changes and healing experienced in the song into physical reality and a motivation to take action. The tension we hear almost acts like a spur, like a feeling of restlessness now that we've been reintroduced to our true selves and the possibilities are endless. In the beginning and end of the song, we are bookended by face-melting solos by J Mascis, which I always recommend to hear as a story or a message. Music is a language, and solos often work in the same way that we hear sentence phrasing, which is why the best soloists will often say that their solos are intuitive, like they're speaking through the instrument. Fill in the blanks and see what this message holds for you. That concludes the energy mapping of See You by Dinosaur Jr. These thoughts and readings are of my own creation based on my life experience and do not reflect the will of the artist in their sound recording. Thanks for joining me. Check out Dinosaur Jr. wherever you listen, and follow them on Instagram at Dinosaur Jr. That's just Dinosaur Jr. All one word. Be sure to support music artists by looking for tour dates near you and buying merch direct. Chromaphile is a podcast series created by me, Alaina Musich. You can follow me on Instagram at Alaina Musich, or send any suggestions and comments to alainamusic@gmail.com. If you like Chromaphile, make sure you subscribe so you can catch the next episode where I map a little bit of energy offered by the lovely and talented Orla Gartland. Catch you then.